The final phase of Macdonaldization is control. Ritzer writes that people are a great source of uncertainty, unpredictability, and inefficiency in any rationalizing system. So what do we do about that? We control them, of course. Ritzer's focus involves control through the replacement of human for non-human technology. So by making tasks so repetitive and forcing employees not to think, employers can actually maintain tighter control over them, aka when you start, when you break, when you stop, what you do, how you do it, and how long you do it for, just like an algorithm in a computer. We are seeing this more and more today as we begin to worship our technology. The Bible says something about the servants becoming the masters. Well, we are less in control on the computers that we created to serve us and service us, and more in control of us. Things have become more automated, and as we are spending more time in front of the television and mobile and tablet screens and less time thinking for ourselves, we are becoming more and more dependent or controlled by the very things that Macdonaldization creates. In the movie I, Robot, which is set in the future where robots and humans are living side by side, one of the characters remarks how he misses the good old days when people cared about other people. This is strikingly accurate today because on a daily basis, most people are mainly concerned with the battery on the device dying than actual people dying around the world. Control can be seen in every aspect of our society and not just in our culture's dependency on technology. We see it in the assembly lines like those in the Ford facilities. There is an emphasis on quality control and health and safety regulations to be followed. In our education system, control manifests itself as fear. Fear of a teacher losing their job means that they will continue to follow the rules, and fear of not getting into university will control the way a student views and participates in their education. Today, I'll be using society's control over our bodies as an example. We have all heard these terms: eat this, don't eat that, do this, wear your makeup this way, not that way, look like Kate, etc. We are just now essentially copies of one another. Individuality, I think, is slowly being stamped out because that's not easy to control. You can see diversity slowly being on its way out, as all over the world we are using the same tablets, using the same platforms, eating the same things, and all trying to look like the same 5 people in the media's Who's Hot list. From a teenager in South Africa to one in the Isle of Mull, we have been programmed to know what the ideal standard of beauty is. But how can you even standardize humans? We're supposed to be so different. In fact, we are. However, one way to gain control over our bodies has been to create the whole fatness as a correctable problem campaign. Fatness is not a practical trait in humans, ergo, it's not good, which leads to the rationalization of fat. By making fatness a problem means that we can efficiently get rid of it by calculating and predicting how much and how fast we will lose it with a little help from technology. This attack on fat is really about bodily regulation rather than actually promoting health in the population. For example, there is a simplified and efficient calculation called the body mass index, which is routinely used by health authorities to classify most adults in the Western nations as overweight or obese. In this way, unpredictable bodies can be controlled by being made predictable by getting them to weigh themselves at the same time each week, eating certain things at certain times. This may be great overall, however, it can also lead to people feeling oppressed and humiliated by the technology, but also those same people will continue to appeal to that technology for salvation. When human unpredictability becomes the major obstacle to obtain that predictable and efficient weight loss, then surgery is rationalized as a response that is intended to control this fat guy's ability to eat what and when they want it. We see ourselves now no longer relying on ourselves, but relying on technology to help us lose weight. We see bariatric surgeries performed in nip and tucks to produce these streamlined bodies, which is great because these can be calculated in efficient ways to get that hot bod. The seductive efficiencies of the diet industries create calorie-calculated food that is often pre-prepared, machine freeze-dried and microwavable, or blended. In essence, this industry will control what food you eat, how that food is prepared, and even how you eat that food. This sounds like a great idea, But if we begin to rationalize the body in this way, these things can become dangerous. Going under the knife is never really that predictable, and trying to look at that ideal body can lead to diseases such as anorexia, because ultimately we're not supposed to be the same. But again, if we are the same, then we are more easily controlled, which is the goal in a Macdonaldized way of life.